What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It is Saturday, and once again, I am joined by nobody. It is a Tim alone stream, and we're going to have some fun because we're going to be discussing a lot of altcoins to let you guys know the basis of what the show is going to be. We'll have a lot of chat engagement. We'll take a look at some charts, probably mostly just request charts only. I don't really have any planned TA because I kind of did a lot of that yesterday and nothing's really changed. But what we're going to do in this show, there was an article that came out a couple of months ago. I think about a month and a half, 2 months ago. I don't know the exact timeline, but it is an article from Forbes, and it details coins that are quote unquote good for nothing, otherwise known as dead coins, dead altcoins. We're going to be going through the list, and I'm going to be breaking down for you my personal opinion about those coins. Love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Before we get there, though, let's go ahead and get into that intro. Let's get it. All right, everyone. Full transparency for this stream before we get too far into it. This is probably one of the more clickbaity titles I've ever done, thumbnail as well. Anyone who came in here, I got to get this out up front, because anyone who came in here thinking, man, does Tim actually think these coins are dead? The answer is no. I will be fair, and there's a couple of coins on the list that I am not necessarily feeling the greatest about, meaning I don't know how well they'll do this bull market, but I am not. I learned a while ago really not to try to predict the death of any coin, more to try to expect which coins could do really, really well and what coins maybe won't do as well. So in case you're wondering from the title and the thumbnail, is this Tim's opinion or any of the coins in that thumbnail, Tim thinking is a dead coin? I'm going to start off up front. The answer is no. I don't think they're dead. We will address them. We will talk about them. I'll give you my thoughts. I want to hear yours as well. But this is Forbes' opinion, not my own. We're going to go through it. Hopefully, we got a lot of people in here watching today that are maybe newer to the crypto space, and maybe you have no idea whatsoever. I mean, a lot of us experienced crypto enthusiasts who have been following for years probably are going to be in here, and we already have our personal opinions about each and every single one of these coins. However, if anyone is newer, you might be sitting here saying, you know what, I know about Bitcoin, I know about Ethereum, I know about Solana and Cardano, but I don't know about some of these other coins. I've never really heard of them. We're going to get into them and going to break them down. Originally, I thought about doing this as a upload video, but I kind of got into the notes with it and thinking through it. I'm like, this is too detailed. It's too much to do in a video. So we got to do it in a live stream where we kind of wrestle through with it through the whole stream. So if you guys are excited about today's Saturday special edition show, you know what you got to do. You know, smash that like button right there. And if you so like the channel, you also probably should hit subscribe as well. Guys, we're about to hit 17,000 subscribers, 3,000 away from 20K. We're getting there in a hurry. Be a part of that first 20K here on the Investing Bros channel. Before we get too far, let's start off with a good tradition here on the channel. It's the quote of the day, but when T-Shrew is away and I'm the one who's doing better than I deserve, I get to choose the quote, and I like to stick to the Office family. Today is no different. Dwight Schrute, one of the greatest quotes I think that this world has ever seen, and we need more people using this quote in their life. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that thing? And if they would, I do not do that thing. The quote speaks for itself, people. It's a funny way of pretty much saying, think before you speak, think before you do. I think a lot of people could benefit from incorporating this into their daily life. Before we get into the topics of everything, let's just check out what's happening in the space this morning when it comes to prices up and down. Got some big red and big green ones here. WIF down 12%, 12.6%. So meme coin's not feeling very good today. Pepe is another big red coin. That's two memes, two of the larger memes. Floki's up here. That's another meme. I'm looking to see where Bonk is. Okay, Bonk's way down here, probably behind my face. Only down 2.3%, but a lot of memes in the red today, as joined by Safe here as well. However, they're not the only ones. There's not the only red coins here, though. We do have some big green ones. Fantom is in the green. Look at this Solana. Still in the green, up 2.6%. ICP, a lot of these tokens, by the way, guys, are tokens we're going to be talking about today. All goes in the green today. Ordi's in the green. Link's in the green. We're not going to be talking about those ones because they're not on the list. But we'll get into that list here in just a couple of minutes. But this is, as a whole, kind of a mixed market this morning. Some red, some green. Ultimately, most things are kind of not moving a whole lot. Let's take a look at what the top 10 looks like. Bitcoin in the green, but only up 0.4%, so nothing special. Ethereum's up less than 1%. BNB down less than 1%. As we mentioned, Solana up almost 3%, the biggest gainer of the top 10. But pretty much everything is boring, with the exception of maybe, Solana up 3%, Toncoin down 3%. And Toncoin would be losing that number 8 spot if it wasn't for Dogecoin dropping a little as well. But they did kind of get closer. I think yesterday we talked about $700 billion Dogecoin was away from jumping back up to number 8. Now it's within $500 billion. So still closing that gap right there. As a whole, though, kind of a mixed day. Again, not a lot happening. Everything kind of going sideways. Nothing very big. We're going to do some Q&A TA here in just a couple of minutes, but the majority of this show, I'm going to be kind of going through, we'll kind of slow down and keep going on, but I'm going to be going through this story that was brought to our attention here again, just a couple of months ago from Forbes. Let's go ahead and take a look at this list. Maybe some of you have seen it, maybe some of you have not, but this is the good for nothing blockchain list. This was released from Forbes. Just in case you guys can't read this, the 20 blockchains below command a total market value of more than 100 billion, despite the fact that they are unproven. All right, so again, this is not my words. This is Forbes. They are unproven. They have little utility, and other than for speculative crypto trading, most have treasuries brimming with millions, but they answer to neither shareholders nor regulators. What are those coins? Really quickly, just kind of going through some of them, because there's 20 of them. XRP, and we'll address point by point what their arguments are. Is it a good argument? Is it a bad argument? What's my personal opinion? But XRP, Cardano, it's fitting those are the top two. Obviously, those are the 2 coins that I think most people have questions about what their future looks like. We'll address that. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, ICP, Ethereum Classic, Stellar Lumens, for anyone who doesn't know, XLM, Stacks, Kaspa, Theta, Fantom, Monero, Arweave, Algorand, Flow, MultiverseX, Bitcoin SV, Mina, Tezos, and EOS. Now, before we get too far into this, I will say I'm not going to have a strong opinion about all of these coins. There's a couple on here. I'm going to start off by telling you I'm not going to FUD any of them. I'm not going to tell you, oh, this coin for sure is dead. I 100% agree with Forbes. I might say, you know what? I myself have some questions that I think need answers on this coin. But I have learned, again, it is the space of crypto. I'll explain here a little bit more in the next couple of minutes why I'm not going to FUD any single one of them. It's just not really a move to do, especially with a bull market coming up. And we are still in the very speculative time frame of cryptocurrency. Anyone who tries to hard FUD a project and say it's because they don't produce something, well, I'm not going to FUD them, but remember when Cardano didn't do anything and yet it was the fastest growing altcoin in the last bull market and went all the way above $3? The point of that is not to say, oh, Cardano's awesome. The point of that is not to say, oh, well, that's an idea of worthlessness. The point of that is saying when a coin is still under speculation, when there's not really necessarily ironclad what they're going to accomplish or not, hype can come in and be a very powerful trigger. You want to talk about coins that accomplish nothing, and none of them are on this list, but meme coins. Meme coins accomplish nothing, and yet some of you in this chat have probably made a lot of money trading meme coins. Why? Because hype and community are a very big thing. I'll get into the details of those coins here in a couple of minutes. Let's check in with chat and see what is happening here. Pablo Chuco says, ICP, Arweave, Fantom, Mina, I like all of those still to a degree, but those projects are solid. Okay. I think I agree with you on some of those. Giving it a few more weeks. Sack Nasty 86 says, he says I'm about to drop my 88. Give it a few more weeks. I'll tell you this, before you drop any coin, unless something catastrophic in the news comes out, I urge you guys to give it a couple more months. Things might stay boring. Things might not look great, but give it. If we're not seeing momentum by like December, I think you might have a case for saying this altcoin might not do much. I know it sucks to hold that long, but I think there's a lot of projects in the crypto space that are going to do very boring, nothing price action. And then people are going to dump them thinking this coin's no good. And then December, November, December area, out of nowhere, those coins will just take off. Maybe they have some big partnership news that comes out. Maybe they do something, they create some new system that no one else has that. I urge people, we are still in a very speculative crypto market. Do not be hasty to judge anything with finality just yet. There's a lot of things that can change here and there. Pablo also said ICP chart looking juicy lately. Maybe we'll take a look at ICP chart a little bit later. The Holder says XRP may gain traction with the introduction of the stable coin. Interesting. I'll address that Eye of the Beholder when I get to the XRP coin, and we're going to start with it number one here on just a second. I'm going to read one more chat. Let's do two more chats, and then I'll get in here. TNT Frag says, what do you think about Polygon Matic? It's not on this list. I like it. I like Polygon Matic, the number one layer two to Ethereum. I think it's very important for Ethereum's ecosystem, so I like it. Let's see here. Zarj says, only a few coins on that list have nothing going on. I may not like a lot of them, but at least most are trying to build something. Absolutely. Absolutely. And right now we are in an arms race that I don't think this bull market's going to answer. I have told you guys on this channel before, if we fast forward to the next 10, 15 years, I believe that more than 90%, maybe even more, maybe pushing closer to 95, but at least 90% of the total market cap of crypto, I think is going to be split between Bitcoin and maybe 5 other altcoins. I mean, when you read through what altcoins do, even though they all have their own little niches and little things, a lot of them are trying to accomplish very similar things. The cream will rise to the top. They'll separate. The good will separate from the bad. The problem is, in this bull market, it's not going to be decided. This is the institutional bull market. We've had a lot of retail get in before. People have researched, but it's a very small fraction of people that will eventually be in crypto. I think this is still another bull market where things are invested in and then tested out. So do not be surprised to see projects do very well in this bull market that everyone's convinced is the future of crypto, only for in the next 5 to 10 years, a different competitor does something so much better than them that out of nowhere, a good project simply dies off. That is my expectation. It's going to take a very long time before we see that come to fruition. But my point here is the reason I'm not fudding any project on this list or any crypto project in general, unless they have concrete bad information, is because I still think that crypto is in discovery mode. We really don't know who's going to be the best at what. I said I was going to read a couple more, but let's read. I was going to read only 2 more, but Army Piper in chat, shout out to Piper, saying, Tim, I still call my rectangle range boxes T-boxes. Well, thank you for that, Piper. I love it. Let's get into this list, guys. Let's go ahead and start off with the number one coin. People have been discussing it. Can I zoom in here? Can I zoom? There we go. All right. XRP is going to be coin number one we're discussing. It's the first on the list. Ultimately, the comments made by Forbes right here, not a lot of comments, but they simply say payments platform has yet to challenge SWIFT, now threatened by stablecoins. All right. There's not a lot kind of going on there with what they're really accusing XRP of, other than they're just saying, hey, we still have SWIFT. XRP hasn't challenged it just yet, and stablecoins could really get in the way. I'm going to start off by saying, while I'm not going to be bearish the way Forbes is, I think there's a valid point that Forbes makes, but they're not making it directly. I'm going to have to make it better for them. I said this on the show yesterday. I've said this now for a couple of months. I am still bullish on XRP in the sense that I think that XRP hits a new all-time high. I've been on record by saying I still think XRP can get at least to $6 and could still make a good push towards $10. Let me go ahead and take a look at the XRP chart just so we can kind of get some looking at that while I'm discussing this. But I still think XRP goes higher in price action. But I will admit that I have questions as far as if it can go much higher than that, this bull market. I used to be on team, guys, like 6-7 months ago. I was on team XRP to $20 to $30. I used to believe realistically we could get up into this range right here. Man, let's look at 25, split the difference. I used to believe that that was a reasonable expectation for XRP price. The reason I'm kind of getting away from that is something that Forbes kind of gets into. It is yet to rival Swift. All right. Well, Swift is going to be in existence. I do think Swift eventually goes away. But to rival it, one of the greatest tactics you could get into is actually partnering with it. I know we all want to talk about cryptocurrency overtaking the current financial system, but we're a long way off before we ditch everything that we currently use. So the best route to get there is actually to partner with them. And guess who is doing that? A coin that's not on this list. A coin that a lot of institutions, I believe Forbes probably really likes, is Chainlink. Are Chainlink and XRP direct competitors perfectly? Not necessarily, but they are in a sense. And one of the reasons why is because they both are going to be heavily working with banks. And of course, we've had very good information for Chainlink here recently, as they're partnering with some of the top banks worldwide to have the communication and distribution between fiat currency and banks and the crypto ecosystem. That's a huge win for Chainlink and a huge deterrent for XRP. It's one of the reasons why I've gone from saying I think that XRP could have made it up here to $25, $30 to saying 6 to 10. I still think there's a place for XRP. I just think that it's lost its steam a little bit. Kind of going further into this, it also says they're threatened by stablecoins. I'm not too worried about them being threatened by stablecoins because stablecoins ultimately, hit the wrong button there. I'm going to go back up here. Stablecoins ultimately will just be things that you can use on the cryptocurrency platform instead of fiat currency via bank to bank. That doesn't really compete with what XRP is doing. XRP is to help communicate the distribution between banks and the crypto world, similar to what Chainlink is doing now with the banks. It's not the stable coins in general that are hurting XRP. It's the stable coin that Ripple, the company that started XRP, is doing that I think will hurt XRP the most. I've seen a lot of people, even XRP enthusiasts, lovers of XRP, kind of ask that question. Wait a minute. If Ripple starts their own stable coin, why do we need the XRP token? And ultimately, what you're going to get to is the XRP token will simply be the utility that allows the money to go back and forth, whereas the stable coin will be the way that money is actually transferred. So again, I still think there's a lot of bullishness. I still think there's a lot of XRP maxis out there. There's still a very strong community that XRP still pumps, but unless they have some good footing where they can wrestle with Swift and Chainlink, and unless they start to put to rest this talk of their stable coin and even the going public with the Ripple company, I think XRP has some long-term questions that put it in jeopardy. Maybe it exists because its utility is useful, but in case you guys didn't know, XRP does not have to go up in value for the utility to still work. I mean, XRP itself could become a stable coin and just stay at an equivalence to $1.55, and then just billions of people still use it to go in and out of banks, but it never gets more valuable in the same way a stable coin never gets more valuable. So it's one of those things that I definitely think I'm still going to be bullish relative on the short term for XRP, but I think there are some questions that need to be answered long term. Let's engage with chat here as we keep going on. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the bigger coins, and then we move into the smaller ones. I'll be a little quicker with them, but I know these are good things to kind of jump into. So whenever I bring up a coin, you guys drop your thoughts, drop your comments. I want to read some of them. Piper said, Tim, when 55 cent XRP to the upside? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question here. I do think we're going to break to the upside here eventually. I mean, look at what we have going on the macro scale. We have a symmetrical triangle pattern. We've wrestled with wicks to the upside and downside several times now, but I think a breakout will come. Like I said, anyone who's saying XRP is dead and going to the downside, they're just full-blown haters. I try to classify myself as being a realist. That's why I'm saying anyone who thinks 589, you're just out of your head insane, right? Let's go. Oh, I took the quote down. Let's go back to the quote of the day, Dwight Schrute. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I don't do that thing. Idiots say that XRP in this cycle are going to $589. All right. Don't Don't go there. I still think you're being unreal. I understand why you might say this, but I think you're being unrealistic expecting 25 anymore. I think the realistic expectation, don't be bearish and say we're crashing and dying, but don't be crazy bullish and say we're going to $25, $30. $6 to $10 is reasonable. It's a very reasonable expectation for XRP. I think that's where we end up going. I think there's good news coming in the near future for their lawsuit. It is going to be something that's very helpful to price action. But I will admit, they've had a lot of reason to potentially go to the upside right now. And my thought is the main reason they're not doing it is because they're kind of losing the arms race with Chainlink. So let's see here. Username says, I'm a hater and a realist. All right. All right. I'm really trying. I'm trying to think if there's any coin that I would be a hater of and try to just I would never like purposely FUD like for the sake of killing a coin, but like I would FUD because I'm very strongly convicted that coin sucks and it's not doing anything. If meme coins can make people a lot of money, anything in this space can make people a lot of money. It just takes a united front of believers to pump the price and convince noobs to buy it in as well. Yazer Doink says, I'm a hater for Hex. Here's what I'll say. I have no intentions to hold Hex ever. I don't like a lot of the tokenomics. I don't like a lot of the ecosystem. I'm not a believer in the founders that made it. But would I say that I think Hex is going to zero? No, because I think there's still a lot of people that love that community in that space. So I think Hex, the price still goes to the upside. That's just my opinion right there. Well, let's keep going on. Let's go. Speaking of, people are talking about it in chat. MTB Thrill Seeker says, ADA, I'm a hater because I do not like Charles. Can you expound on that? If you don't like Charles, I'm trying to think of a number. I don't want to put one. Put a 420. I don't know why. Let's put a 420 in chat if you don't like Charles. And explain why. I know Charles has done some things that's like people think he's egotistical, but I think he's one of the smartest brains in the crypto space. Let's get into it, though. Cardano is number 2 on the list of good-for-nothing blockchains, according to Forbes. Ultimately, and you're going to see this list come on, I think Forbes is a big Ethereum holder / Ethereum believer, because their simple reason for not liking Cardano is Ethereum competitor launched in 2017 by crypto pioneer with cult-like following. Speaking of Charles, he's the one he's talking about. Crypto pioneer with a cult-like following. Why did Cardano blow up so much? Because I will have to admit, as much as I love Cardano, I'm a big Cardano lover. I have a decent sized bag. When people say it's like a cult, the only reason why people say that is because Charles Hoskinson did something that almost no other dev did. He went live frequently to update his community about what he was working on. So if we're going to be calling transparency cult-like following, sign me up for that cult, because I love when the dev is transparent. That's something we haven't necessarily gotten from Vitalik Buterin and others who are big name devs in the space. Was the 2021 rally of Cardano based off a lot of hype and not a lot of information and actual use case? 1000%. I'm not going to defend Cardano and say, I've been on record by saying Cardano had no business being above $3. No business whatsoever. It's just how crazy the community went. Now, it was based off the promise in the future of creating amazing blockchain, and that's where I think there's a good debate to be had. But I'll agree that we never should have been at this level of $3. I think realistically, we probably should have been back in the range of 150 to 200. That would have made, pulling back as we did in this bear market back down to 22 cents, not that big of a deal. But my point is, Cardano is the proof, ultimately, when you look at this chart in 2021, why you shouldn't hate on a project just because they haven't accomplished anything yet, because it was the number one mover last bull market. It went all the way from being down here at 1.7 cents in this bull market. It rallied a whopping 16,645%. That would be on 167x. Not bad if you bought way down at 1.8, 1.7 cents. The difference in this bull market is that Cardano does have utility. And then there's going to be people that argue, there's going to be people that say no, but they've built out their system. Is it easy to build on? No, it is not. It is complicated. It is more advanced code so that only the experts in the field can really grow there. But it does do a good job of creating security, of creating a space where you do not have outages necessarily like Solana. You don't have a lot of these hacking things going on. Ultimately, it's a slow but sure process of building safe and decentralized cryptocurrency. Now, let's get into my opinion. I think that Forbes is, by saying this is a good for nothing coin, that is a false statement. I do not agree. This is another one, though. I think that some people have been a little delusional with Cardano and they're expecting maybe, just like XRP, $20 to $30. It's not going to happen, guys. Let's get our heads out of the clouds with Cardano. I think the more realistic expectation, I used to say 8 to 10. I'm kind of now in the range of more 6 to 8. I'm lowering this down. Let me explain to you why, though. I believe in Cardano long term. And in the same way, I think there's some tokens that will do some exponential things, some crazy bullish price action in this bull market because we're still in discovery mode. And because this time, instead of just being a retail bull market, it's going to be an institutional bull market. I think there's a lot of things that people take a chance on and invest in early to see, can this coin keep doing its thing? Cardano will not get that benefit. Obviously, it had a massive bull market last bull market based off of hype, not on production. This year, they're producing things, but they're not necessarily the best friend of the institutional investor, and that's going to be the biggest money in the game. So I've said this. I think Cardano temporarily falls out of the top 10 because I think the institutional coins get a big, big run, a big, big push. We're already close to seeing that happen. But I think late in the bull market, as people really understand more about cryptocurrency, they get back to the roots and say, you know what? Blockchain technology is cool and all, and this proof of work and proof of stake and all yada yada, this is cool, but if we don't get careful with this, we're just going to create a digitalized currency that does the exact same stupidity of current fiat currency. We need to find something that is truly decentralized and truly secure and trustless, meaning you don't have to worry about trust being an issue, and that's a big win for coins like Cardano. So I'm kind of sitting here saying I think $6 to $8 is the top. I think Charles Hoskinson in his long-term plan, he doesn't care about price action. He cares way more about making sure he builds the right crypto so that it benefits the world. Things like voting, decentralized voting, and decentralized aspects of this. I think he's playing the long game, not the 2025 game. Still think he's going to have a nice bull market, but that's my thought right there. KV, thank you for the super chat. Said, render price prediction by the end of 2024, please, Tim. I will make a video on that, KV. Not today. Give me a couple of weeks. I'm going to be making a couple of price prediction videos today to go out next week because I'm going to be out again. I leave Tuesday morning. I'll be gone through Friday. I'll be back for next week's Saturday show. But I'm going to create some videos to go out while I'm gone. I'll make some price predictions. I don't think render's on that list, though. So give me a couple of weeks. I will give a price prediction for render, and it's going to be a good one. Czar says, think you're spot on with ADA. And again, I'll make it clear in case anyone, I want to ramble here. I'm a one-man show, so I ramble here a little bit. My ultimate thought is Cardano slow out the gate, has a decent bull market, nothing special, nothing crazy, gets somewhere between $6 to $8. It stays relevant in the crypto space, but it benefits from future bull markets when decentralization and security are more heavily prioritized. This is the bull market of get things done fast and make institutions a lot of money. Big, big game for Ethereum, for Solana, for Chainlink. I think some of those can keep doing well in the future, but my point is people are going to prioritize speed and effectiveness more so than security and decentralization in the next year. It's the next 10, 15, 20 years. Things will always go back down towards secure, safe, and hard money systems. And I think that's something that Cardano definitely does in a way that will resonate with the rest of the world. Eric Wallen out here trying to support Cardano as well. If you guys have any questions, ask Eric. He's the biggest supporter. Regulation is coming soon. What are the regulations, though? I mean, we keep going back and forth on what regulation is going to look like. Here's what I'll say. Free Minds 007, like the name. We will get regulations here and there, but I honestly think that, especially here in the U.S., we're not going to be very clear on regulations until after the election season. I don't think that the current administration is going to get enough done. I think this always happens in American politics where there's perceived like there's being a changing of the guard. And so what happens right now is while we have a president from the Democratic Party and we have, a decent amount of people in both Congress and Senate from the Democratic Party, there's enough Republicans there to just block any new movements. This happens when Republicans are in power right at the end. There's enough Democrats usually to block Republicans from doing anything major right at the end because they're wanting to see who's the next leader. Is it going to be a Republican Party that controls the presidency and the other, Senate and Congress, or can the Democrats keep control? I think the true regulation comes more than likely after the election season or after the new power is put in place, and then they'll be able to start doing whatever they want to do. So regulation is coming. I just don't think until 2025. Got to eat a throat lozenge, by the way, guys. I'm feeling good. My throat's just still very scratchy from being sick this week. All right, let's keep going here, guys. Let's get back into some more coins. I'm enjoying the show. Hopefully you guys are as well. If you are, smash the like button right there and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let's get back to the chart. Coin number 3. I'm going to be quick on this one. Bitcoin Cash. Again, I'm not going to FUD Bitcoin Cash in the sense of saying it's going to die. Bitcoin Cash, though, I'm not going to be a big proponent of. I don't own any. It is simply a split off of Bitcoin. Ultimately, what Forbes says is it was born in 2017 after a holy war over Bitcoin's primary function, what we call a fork. There's going to be people who claim that Bitcoin Cash is the original Bitcoin. I disagree. What we have currently is Bitcoin. Ranked number 1 is the original Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin Cash is going anywhere. I think they still can have a good bull market with people making money, but it's not Bitcoin. So don't invest in Bitcoin Cash thinking you're investing in Bitcoin. Good for nothing. I'm not going to say it's good for nothing, but I'll call Bitcoin Cash good for little. But I still think a price valuation can go up. All right, let's keep going. Let's go with the same gravy train. Similar coin, Litecoin. Now, I have been pessimistic about Litecoin in the past. There's a scenario where Litecoin continues to do very, very well, especially if proof of stake coins end up getting the hammer from regulatory preferences. So, like, let's say Biden is reelected, Gary Gensler stays in power over the SEC. That could actually be very good news for Litecoin. The reason Forbes doesn't like it, thinks it's good for nothing. Bitcoin spinoff is faster and cheaper, few developers, but used for purchases. I'll tell you this. I think Litecoin has been dying here more recently. Let's go look at the Litecoin chart over here. I got to find it way down here. Boom. All right. Litecoin, one of the few coins in the last bull market that did not set a new all-time high. XRP was another one, but they had a reason. They were under suppression from the SEC. Litecoin, I still think goes to the upside, but if proof of stake is given the green light and just goes nuts, I think Litecoin, it just is not going to have enough firepower to be anything special. Could it potentially hit a new all-time high? Maybe. At this point, even if it doesn't hit a new all-time high, let's just pretend we triple top up there at around that $400 level. You still have a potential, 4x in that coin. But I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be one of the coins that I will be the least bullish on. And one of the reasons why is because of another coin on this list. It's called Kaspa. But I'm going to hold that one. I'm going to hold my thought about Kaspa. But Litecoin, again, it's old. It's kind of outdated. It hasn't done anything special in a while. And it has some potential new competitors that will take it out. Again, the best case scenario for Litecoin would be heavy regulation against proof of stake coins, especially if Ethereum takes a hit. I think Litecoin could be okay. Let's see what you guys are saying about what I'm saying so far. Eric Wallen said Litecoin is good for third world countries as actual daily use. Again, yes, but there's an alternative there. It's getting slowly phased out, right? Kaspa better. Crux said, all right, you guys are jumping ahead of my thoughts. Username says Litecoin equals a nap. All right. All right, so I'm not getting a lot of negative feedback about my not so hot Litecoin expectation. Listen, if you guys have a good case for Litecoin being one of the best cryptos still in the space, make it. I'm open to changing my mind, but I just Litecoin has that. It was the little brother to Bitcoin. It couldn't compete with Bitcoin. It's just fading because people aren't ready for that just to be what we use as our normal currency. I'm going to hold off the rest of my thoughts when I get to Kaspa because it's heavily related. let's get into going back and looking at some more coins. We get to another good one, another newer but community favorite, ICP. All right. Why does Forbes hate ICP? Created in 2021 to disrupt AWS and Google Cloud minimal usage. All right. Well, it's minimal usage because it's not that old. But ultimately, what ICP is going to do, and what it's already doing, I think, since this, it's made partnership with Bitcoin, it is going to be a massive, massive, massive wave of communicating between Web 2 and Web 3. Web 3 is the future. Flooding on ICP, with Forbes is doing this. Flooding on ICP is like flooding on the internet when it was first created. And guess what, guys? There were a lot of people. I should have brought up articles and quotes and stories of all of these very intelligent institutional researched people and like investors when they talked about the internet in the early days, talking about how it was a flash in the pan, it was never going to catch on, people weren't going to use it, yada, yada, yada. This is the equivalent. Flooding ICP is the same thing. If you don't like ICP, give me a reason other than, minimal usage. The internet was minimally used when it first came out because it had to grow in what it was doing. We are in the massive process of switching from a Web 2 world to a Web 3 world. And I believe ICP is on the forefront of that use case. Now, again, will that all happen in the next year and a half? No. Remember, we're in discovery mode right now. Things are figuring themselves out. But I do think ICP is one that can make a very long run. And I see there are clearly minor competitors, but no major competitor. I think ICP is getting the backing it needs, the relationship it needs to be the front runner in that space, to host and be the Web3 internet moving forward and connect all of Web2 into the Web3 world. If you disagree, you can fight me. Just kidding. I don't want to fight anyone. Redman says, not that I don't like ICP, other than being centralized, it's a good buy. Okay, let's get into that, Redman. I think that's a good point. And I think what you're saying is actually probably echoes a lot of my feeling as well. I don't have this love in my heart for ICP the same way I maybe have a love in my heart for Bitcoin and Cardano and Kaspa. I have a love in my heart for altcoins that I think will service the space well and are heavily decentralized. Why? Because I, much like the rest of you, are sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. My English isn't very good. I'm sick and tired of the centralized entities, the minority of the elites controlling my life, my wealth, my existence, my everything. Now, the good news is, whether I have freedom given to me via a country, a constitution or not, I believe that I am a free man created by an almighty creator. And you can tell me I'm a slave or not, I'm going to live free. I'm going to be that way, right? But it's nice to have laws and it's nice to have systems put in place that defend and back up that freedom. And money is not a free world right now. Well, our money is heavily manipulated, heavily taxed in more ways than one, in a very broken system that the government pretty much says, hey, just trust us. And they've proven time and time again that they're not trustworthy, right? So I have a love in my heart for decentralized currencies. That doesn't mean I don't think that centralized entities can't make us money. First of all, businesses that have made people a lot of money, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, you name it, they're centralized companies. Tesla, it's not like they're like, okay, everybody who owns stock here, let's all get together and vote. No, there's a CEO, there's a board of trustees. They make all the major decisions. You, the individual who owns stock there, just sits back and has to trust whatever they decide. But guess what? You can make a lot of money. It's the same thing with centralized currencies like ICP, like Solana. Maybe people are going to disagree with me on that one, but Solana's pretty centralized. I think Ethereum's trying to be less centralized, but Ethereum's pretty centralized as well. Guys, there's an advantage to being centralized, meaning you can make decisions and get things done faster. It's not decentralization. It's not the same decentralized free expression of currency, but it is something that can make people a lot of money. So if your only problem with ICP is that it's centralized, you're not wrong, but you're missing out on an opportunity to be invested in the early stages of something major that will make you a lot of money. Papa Gooth, all caps. Loopring is just the last cycle left over. Pass on that. I don't really have a thought on Loopring. How about Jupiter? Guys, I like Jupiter. MTB Thrill Seeker doesn't like Jupiter, and that's okay. I think Jupiter, if things play out correctly, could pass Uniswap as the number one DEX, pretty much the number one swap token as a whole. I think that Jupiter inevitably will go on its own system. It's right now built on Solana, but I think inevitably Jupiter will do well enough that it actually goes on its own blockchain. It becomes its own thing. That's my guess, but I'm big on Jupiter. Doesn't look like Crux is. I'm interested in that conversation. Why does ICP have well, it says toxic, but I'm pretty sure you mean toxic. Why does ICP have toxic maxis? Yazzer, everything has toxic maxis. Bitcoin has toxic maxis. Ethereum has toxic maxis. Solana has toxic maxis. Cardano has toxic maxis. Show me a coin that's doing well, and I'll show you a coin that has toxic maxis. So it has it, but join the rest of the club. Okay. MTB Thrill Seeker says, no, I like Jupiter. Well, then why'd you say, okay. I misread the MTB. My bad. You do like it. You're right. I didn't read the. So when I read Jupiter is poop, it's very different than Jupiter is the poop, which is not a good expression. I've never heard someone say is the poop. That doesn't sound as good as when you use the S word. But, you know, it's a family show, so I'm not going to read that one. But I see what you're saying. I agree with you. Which has more to gain from here? Crux out here putting some fire polls in chat. If you guys love the chat we've had so far, smash the like button, everybody. Let's get those likes up. Yesterday, we actually had a great like to view ratio. What are we currently at? Let's check in here and see what our current like hits are. 117, but we have 315 people watching. Let's get to 200 here in the next 20 minutes. Easy peasy, short and squeezy. Let's move on here. So far, again, I think there's points that Forbes is making, but at the end of this list, I'm going to explain to you why I disagree with them. And it's already 11:42, so I got to speed up because I have a lot I got to talk about here, but I'm having fun engaging with you guys. All right, let's keep going. Ethereum Classic. All right, let's just put Ethereum Classic on the same boat as Bitcoin Cash. The original Ethereum chain, supported by purists. People say this is the real one. It's not. Can Ethereum Classic still make people money? Yes, it can. But I will put this Ethereum Classic goes into my good for little. I don't see it existing and being effective long term. Might make money in this bull market, but I don't see that working long term. Stellar XLM, founded by Ripple co-creator Jeb McCaleb and competes with XRP, has a large treasury. Again, I think that this is a coin that will go up, but this is one I have. If XRP has questions long term, so does Stellar. Stellar is the little brother to XRP. So if XRP doesn't do well, Stellar's not going to do well either. I think this is a potential coin I put into the good for little. Doesn't mean it can't have some good bull market action right now, but it's competing not only with just XRP, but of course, because it's competing with XRP, it's also competing with Chainlink. In that order, I think the best one's going to be Chainlink, then XRP, and then Stellar. There's not room for three. There might not be room for two, but there's definitely not room for three. So long term, I don't have high hopes for Stellar. Ultimately, even if you look at Jed McCaleb and who he is as a person and his relationship with XRP, he pretty much just made XLM as a middle finger to Ripple. I don't think he had any long-term thoughts about how it was going to be a better system. He just wanted to create a competitor just because he didn't like Ripple anymore. So good for little in my thoughts. Let's see here real quick in chat. Someone said, look at ICP. We did, LOL. We looked at ICP. Candle Daddy said, great stuff today, Tim. Thank you so much for that feedback. Someone says, I see a head and shoulders forming on Link's daily chart. Tim, do you see that? Jason Thill, remind me later on the show. I'm telling you guys right now, this might end up becoming a 2-hour show because I mean, it's a Saturday. I have nowhere I'm going after this other than go spend time with family, but I got to shoot some videos after that. We might have a long show today, and it might be worth it. Ring AI. I've heard some good things about Ring AI, basketball's VP. Don't know enough about it to make a definitive statement, but I've heard good things. Plus one like, what is your estimate highs on Bitcoin, Sol, and ADA this run? Dr. Payne, you found the right channel, man. Subscribe. Hit that button right there. Hit subscribe because I made videos on all those already. I gave you guys some answers there. Let's do this. All right, let's keep going on. Stacks. All right, here we go. Another one that I'm going to heavily disagree with. What's the reason Forbes is bearish? Good for nothing coin. Bitcoin compatible blockchain supports DeFi, benefiting from Bitcoin surge and imminent upgrade. Where's the negativity there? That's a statement of support. Guys, Stacks, Stacks is going to be the #1 layer 2 on Bitcoin. I have no idea why this isn't a good for nothing list. All right. Well, imagine this. If anyone's struggling to understand Stacks and why it will be so valuable, picture Matic to Ethereum. That's going to be the relationship between Stacks to Bitcoin. But stay with me here and let's understand why this should be so important. I'm not necessarily going to massively predict that it passes Matic, but take a look at this. Matic coming in down here. Where are we? We fell pretty far, down 18. Matic, the #1 layer 2, all the way up here to Ethereum, but has some decent competition between Arbitrum and Optimism. Well, Ethereum is less than less than a fourth, or probably about a fourth of the value of Bitcoin. But yet it's #1 layer 2, which is still finding its footing, is all the way down here. Where is Stack? Stack. Did it climb? Oh, it's dropped. It dropped. Okay, here we go. Number 37. This is because it hasn't come into fruition of what it's going to accomplish perfectly. Ultimately, this coin, the layer 2 for the #1 altcoin, should in theory end up being more valuable than a layer 2 that has heavy competition for the #2 altcoin. No? Does that not make sense? I think that Stacks is another 20 to 40x. You guys have heard me ramble about Chainlink, and people call me nuts and crazy for how bullish I am on Chainlink, but it's because I believe that it will become explosive. I think Stacks is in that same category. I think they're still working out the details of what that looks like, but just wait for the relationships to start rolling in. Bitcoin absolutely needs a layer 2. Bitcoin is an amazing store of value, but for things to scale and things to be transacted easily on Bitcoin, it needs layer 2s like Stacks. And therefore, this is not good for nothing. This is good for a lot. Stacks is an easy Forbes just doesn't know what they're talking about situation. Yeah. Bitcoin, Crux says, Stacks, Bitcoin needs a scaling solution. The 1 hour on average transaction times needs to settle. Doesn't suit in all cases. If crypto plans on being adopted, it needs to settle in seconds, and L2s allow this. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like Matic solves the gas fees of Ethereum, Stacks will solve the speed of transaction for Bitcoin. Massively needed. Don't really feel like we need to say a lot more there. We kind of crushed that one. Let's keep going. Theta. Don't have a lot of thoughts about Theta other than Theta is going to be a video. So they said decentralized video streaming network with few users. Yeah, it's got few users now, but you guys know who one of the founders or advisors of Theta is, right? It's the same guy that helped create like YouTube and a couple other things. I can't remember all of it, but Theta, I'm going to stay bullish on. They could get ruined, like they could fall out, but it's an AI token. They're working on a new creative way to create video streaming. They have one of the founders who's been the most successful in the game. I think that Theta, it's a little too early to be too bearish on Theta. Let me know if you guys disagree. Do you guys dislike Theta? Put in there why. Ultimately, if you guys disagree with me, you might be right. I have not put a lot of research hours into Theta. It's not worth my time, I don't think. I don't invest in Theta. I just, in the limited research I've done, I know who they have helping build it, and they have a good track record of building systems. So that's going to leave it there. Let's keep going on. I skipped Kaspa. All right, here we go. We got to talk about Kaspa. All right, guys. Kaspa. What's the reason why they're saying it's good for nothing? Payment systems like Bitcoin with little discernible use. You know what the only bad thing about Kaspa is right now, and I'm going to get into why I like it so much. The only bad thing is it's hard to get a hold of it. You either have to be kind of deep on the devs game, like the DEX game, or you have to have Uphold or something. There's not necessarily a lot of ways to get a hold of it. But when it will get that, and inevitably it will, when Coinbase lists it and Binance lists it and a lot of other exchanges list it, Kaspa is going to accomplish an aspect of what Bitcoin was supposed to accomplish in a way that Bitcoin cannot do it. Now, of course, we just talked about Stacks. We just talked about Stacks being the layer 2 that helps speed Bitcoin up. But ultimately, Bitcoin, whether Satoshi Nakamoto meant for it to be this way or not, is not a good solution for exchanging value back and forth. What I mean by that is I'm going to hold my wealth and count my wealth in terms of Satoshis. But when I go to the grocery store or I pay rent or I do this, if we're going to be moving into a decentralized currency that doesn't depend upon trusting a government entity to know its worth, we need to find something that has fast transactions, scalable transactions, and does it in a decentralized way. Some people call that Litecoin, but again, Litecoin's fading out, losing momentum. Kaspa, I think, is going to come in and accomplish that whole thing. So, like in a favorable world, my elections will be held by Cardano. My smart contracts and big systems with institutions will probably be built on Ethereum. Building gaming and smart contract stuff for the everyday person will be built on Solana. The way I interact back and forth with banking systems, yada, 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 is through Chainlink. My store of value and my wealth is built on Bitcoin, and my currency I use for everyday spending is Kaspa. I might have left an altcoin out, but you get my gist here. If I'm going to kind of envision a future of what the top crypto looks like and what its use case is, Kaspa is my money that I'm purchasing goods and services for every single day. Papa Goose put it very well here. He said, Cas is still early, amigos. He's talking to all of our Hispanic friends. I love Kaspa. I'm big on Kaspa. The only downside at the moment is that it's hard to get a hold of. That will change. That will change. I think there's a point where Kaspa continues to make money, and then at a certain point, don't be surprised by this, everybody. Don't be surprised when Kaspa becomes somewhat of a stable coin, simply because you need it to be dependable in terms of price action so that you know the store of value. You can't have a world where one week a gallon of milk is worth half of a Kaspa, and then the next week it's worth one Kaspa, and then the week after that it's worth a quarter of a Kaspa. You can't have that. You need to have whatever your currency is be stabilized. Can't be Bitcoin, doesn't transact fast enough. I think Kaspa is the one that it raises in terms of value, gives people something to hold on to, and then we're able to make a switch where it is so transactable. We can buy our goods and services. We can be paid in Kaspa. We able to then turn Kaspa into something else based on what we need to do for the rest of the world. I think that Kaspa serves that purpose. It is not good for nothing. It is going to be, I think, a big player in the space. Somebody says ICP popping. Let's take a quick break from our regularly scheduled program. Let's just check in real quick with price action, just in case anything's happening. Bitcoin's down. I don't know what that's. ICP popping. Is ICP popping? Let's go to the 4-hour chart. It's going. ICP's rallying here. Now, ICP's in a little bit of its own little formation going on right here. Is this going to end up being a bull pennant? The one negative thing I would say, again, I think it still breaks the upside, but you're going to have some bearish people saying, hey, that's a rising channel of sorts. That's either a rising channel or a ascending wedge, a rising wedge that more often not breaks the downside. I think ICP breaks the upside, but just kind of bouncing back into an average roll right here. If I were to kind of give you fixed range volume, we're technically above it, but we're still in the zone of heavy volume traded here between 1284 and where we currently are on 1360 or so. So that's nothing special there, but it is rallying today. Eric Wallen chiming in with his opinions. Love it. Tim, noon. I know it says no one, but I like it as noon. We'll use Kaspa to pay. They will use USDC on Kas when they get it. Okay, here's the only thing I would say, Eric. You're talking about probably the next 5, 10, 15 years when we still have to have the US dollar. I'm talking about the future where we no longer, a stable coin is only useful in the sense that we're going to continue to give value to the US dollar or other currencies. I think there will be a case and a place where we need to get away from fiat and we need to be on a different form of currency that actually has value. And I think Kaspa could be the one that does that. I think that stable coins will help bridge us to that system and it'll be useful, but I think we need to eventually get away from the dollar system. Even if we keep calling it dollars, even if Kaspa changes things, I think that we need a cryptocurrency that actually is our store of is our wealth and our wallet that we pay for and get paid in. Again, feel free to disagree with my opinion. That is my personal opinion. Let's keep going on with the list. I'm going to speed up because I think I'm running out of the coins that I really care a lot about. We talked about Theta. Fantom, Ethereum competitor, runs several decentralized exchanges and trade tokens. Upgrade coming. Again, I think Fantom has a lot of support, a lot of things going on. They store a lot. I think that this is one that's kind of comparable to, like, if we were to talk about, I don't remember. Fantom, I'm confused with another one. I'm going to skip it. I mean, again, I don't own Fantom. If you do, I know a lot of people in our community do own it. I still think Fantom has a bright future. Monero is one of these coins that I actually really like, but I fear that this is one that even the more conservative and free-loving politicians are going to have a problem with. My only experience of talking with someone who uses Monero, they literally talked about they used it to buy shrooms. Like, they just self-admittedly say, oh, yeah, I use that to purchase illicit activities. So it's one of the things. I think Monero is great in practice, and I think it'll always exist. But I think that Monero is going to probably face pretty harsh ceilings to gain value too much. So I don't know if I say good for little, but I would say if you're expecting to make money by a Monero investment, you're probably going to be disappointed. Arweave was the one I was thinking about earlier. Arweave, they're saying blockchain for storing immutable data with minuscule usage. That's because Web3 is still small. Effectively, Arweave could potentially be like the equivalency of the cloud. There's other names for the other ecosystems, but like, yeah, like people are going to store data and information. Well, guess what? In a very young world of cryptocurrency, with a very still, compared to the rest of the world's population, a very small minority of people utilizing cryptocurrency, of course it's going to have minuscule usage. Wait till Web3 is mainstream, and all of a sudden people are going to be begging you to have Arweave. So bad take for sure from Forbes. Let's keep going on. Algorand, Ethereum competitor, launched in 2019. Again, their biggest issue is it's an Ethereum competitor. Uber mode, focusing on growth over revenue. Algo's fast. I don't know if I'm the biggest Algo fan, but there are big Algo fans out there. It's very fast. People seem to love it. Whether I like it or not, this is going to be a coin I definitely throw into the camp of saying, maybe I don't like it long term, but there's a strong enough community that does. There's people that will learn about it and think it's awesome. It should have a decent bull market in this bull market. It's the next one we got to decide. All right, is this still worth being here? I'm going to say the same thing for Flow here. I'm just going to rush these. I don't really care about the rest of these, if we're being honest. Flow, MultiverseX, Bitcoin SV, put that one in the same category as Bitcoin Cash, Mina, Tezos, EOS. Here's what I'll say. Am I the biggest believer of them long term? Will they still be here in 20 years? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think all of those, I know enough to know that there's communities that love them, that will continue to invest in them and grow them. And there'll be new people that come in and hear the same things they do, and they'll invest in them because of why this is still an exploratory mode of crypto. People are still trying to figure out and get the grasp on what crypto does. All it takes is a couple of your friends saying, oh, did you check out EOS? It's so cool, man. I just dropped like $1,000 there. You need to go there as well. And then all of a sudden you got a bunch of people buying it and the price goes up, right? Eric Wallen says Crux loves Algo. Is that true, Crux? Are you a big Algo fan? I'm not an Algo hater. I just don't hold any. So guess what they're buying this whole list. Yeah. So Justo, he's suspecting they're buying this whole list. Here's where we get into the funness of this whole situation when it comes to the history that Forbes has with crypto. My first thought here, before I go even further, because I have some articles I want to take a look at here. My first thought, though, is I think it's pretty clear from a lot of their thoughts here. I mean, they said MultiverseX is Ethereum challenger, built it. Algo's an Ethereum competitor. Cardano's an Ethereum competitor. This is an Ethereum competitor. Fantom's an Ethereum competitor. They clearly are flooding what they perceive to be Ethereum competitors. They can't put Solana on this list, obviously, because Solana is having a historic run, right? So they can't put that there. But they were looking for any excuse in the world they could to flood Ethereum. So what does that mean? Hey, good for Ethereum. Forbes, a heavily respected investment article, I'm what they call it, resource. They're going to have a large say over people, especially newer investors. That's probably good for Ethereum. It very much, in what I'm looking at, it very much looks like they are big on Ethereum. Now, here's where their relationship with crypto starts to get a little, dare I say, dicey. They have a track record of not being great friends to the crypto space. Here's an article posted back on May 1st. The positive impacts of Forbes mishaps on BlockDAG's market performance, $1 million daily. Well, the biggest thing we saw here was a doxing that they did in a surprising turn of events. Forbes inadvertently boosted the trajectory of BlockDAG network when it revealed that Charlie Lee is a part of the advisory committee. This is an unexpected doxing, while accidental, has sparked a dramatic surge in interest and investment, propelling the cryptocurrency project to amass daily revenues upwards of 1 million. What's my takeaway from this? Why am I bringing up this article? Do we think that Forbes, one of the largest investment institutions out there in terms of helping people do it, do we think they do anything on accident? I don't think so. The doxing of Charlie Lee was definitely on purpose to manipulate price action on BlockDAG. That doesn't stop there, though. I don't know if you guys have been following. There's articles clearly where Forbes is related to putting these articles out. They might not put on their website, but they're absolutely involved with FUDding a lot of the space. And one of the largest companies they tried to FUD was Binance. They had a lot of different articles being put out there comparing Binance to FTX. Of course, we saw a lot of the FTX enthusiasts doing the same thing. But despite the fact that there was very little evidence, they just continued to put out these opinion pieces where they pretty much, even though they didn't have evidence, they just said, well, it's not out of the equation. You can't rule out the crash. And they gave these kind of BS explanations for why Binance was the same. And you might be saying, all right, well, Tim, maybe they had their reasons. Maybe they did some research they didn't clearly give the evidence for, but maybe they aren't just biased whatsoever. I think they have some reason to be biased. One of the reasons why is because this is an article about CZ responding to Forbes FUD. Ultimately, in February 2022, all this FUD has come out since then. In February 2022, Forbes announced I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me zoom in here. A $200 million investment from Binance as a part of a planned deal to take the media company public. Okay. So they like Binance. They're doing a $200 million deal with them. That later fell through. So there's no problem with them whatsoever. They're good to go, good to go. We have a $200 million deal. That deal falls through. There's a lot of reasons to suspect CZ is the one that axes it. And all of a sudden, Forbes is not a fan of Binance and thinks that they will be a repeat of what happens by the way, that was February 2023, by the way. So this is over a year ago. All of a sudden, now that there's no deal on the table, we're seeing a repeat of FTX here. As a whole, we have watched Forbes manipulate the crypto space, come in here and try to manipulate the whole Binance situation to convince people that's an FTX situation all over again. Forbes is no friend of crypto. They're going to be very influential. And again, that's why things like Ethereum are going to actually do pretty well, because clearly they like Ethereum. They probably have no problem with Bitcoin whatsoever. But they do have a problem with some more decentralized currencies. They do have a problem with things that threaten their take. And so anyone who takes Forbes, you have to take everything that Forbes says when it comes to crypto with a sense of, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because they have clearly in the past shown signs that they are not necessarily going to give you the most avid information. They're going to do just like every other news station does. They're going to do what's in their best interest, what's in their owner's best interest, what's in their investors' best interests. It's all about money, ultimately, when it comes to these large news exchanges. So we have to still listen to them. We have to still read them and break it down. But knowing who's writing what articles is very important, so you get a healthy expectation of, is there any bias here? Is there any motive going on between these articles? And ultimately, this whole video, again, the whole stream today was about this article, this release of 20 good-for-nothing blockchains. They're heavily FUDding them. And ultimately, if you just think for yourself, I'm not saying that every coin, I'm not saying they're wrong on everything here. I think there's some coins on here that you might have a valid argument to say, yeah, that coin might not make it long-term. But there's a lot that I would argue are clearly preconceived. We got to get rid of this token because they're a threat to some of our favorites. That's what these large institutions do. That's what they do. It's 12:04. Let's get into some chat here. We'll do some TA of the coins you guys want to see. DDOs us some push-ups for being late. Dave Digital, he is. I mean, a moderator's late. Like 174 is Dave Digital's. Where are we with likes right now? Let's check out where we are with likes. We still have 300 people here watching. 186 likes. Come on, guys. We gotta get to 200. Let's get to 200 before the end of the stream. Smash that like button, everybody. If you're enjoying the show so far, smash it. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any content. Saturday shows are always fun and different. Normally we do a lot of news, a lot of charts. But today I just wanted to kind of go through that. You're gonna see here. Again, I said I was gonna make a originally my thought was I was gonna make a video about it, maybe 15 minutes long. I could not have covered all of that in 15 minutes. That was definitely would have taken me, at least 40 without kind of breaking for conversation. All right, Jason Thill, you did remind me. Thank you for doing that. I think I talked about this yesterday was I on Discover Crypto when I talked about this? I think DZ might have brought it up. He's asking right now about, is there a potential, I got to keep this here. I don't want to get rid of my trade setup. Is there a potential head and shoulders pattern playing out? Well, first of all, let's just talk about, is there a head and shoulders pattern playing out? Potentially, we might see something look like a head and shoulders. It's a weird shoulder, but you kind of see a left shoulder on this side. We rally up, have a bit of a dip back down, left shoulder in play. That's a pretty clean head if I've ever seen one. And right now with this recent price action, and we're coming back up down, up towards $17, let's pretend the price action were to do something like this and kind of trade sideways in here. Ooh, why did that do that? Why did that? Come on now. Play with me here. Let's pretend the price action does something like this and it starts to come back down. All right. Well, now all of a sudden you do have a potential right shoulder in play. And the way you play this out, you kind of draw this neckline just like this. You take the top of the head down to that neckline as a potential breakout position. This would cause Chainlink, guys, not just to go down to the $9 we talked about before. This would bring Chainlink back down to $6.24. Digital says, please refrain from offensive language. What offensive language I use? Oh, I don't know offensive languages. All right, going back to Chainlink here. There's just not a chance that we're going down to 624. There's too much good news going on. That's my first argument against this. The second argument is we haven't necessarily officially set the head and shoulders just yet. So let's come back in here. Let's take a look. This is all you want to just drew. This has not happened. If this price action does this, where's my tool? There we go. If this just goes like this and starts going higher and higher, that's no longer a head and shoulders pattern. My third and final argument against the head and shoulders pattern, and I said this on the Discover Crypto show yesterday, I have not been a fan of inverse head and shoulders patterns or head and shoulders patterns when it comes to crypto here anytime recently. I have not seen one play out the way it should in a long time. I've seen cup and handles do pretty well. I've seen triangles do well. But as far as the pattern head and shoulders, not going well. I was talking with Paul Barron the other day about probably my worst call this entire bull market. Most of you are here for this, but there's some new people. I'm gonna listen. I've been getting a lot of things right recently, so I'll tell you when I get things right, but I'll also tell you when I get things wrong. And you guys want to know one of the worst things I did, one of the things I got the most wrong. Actually, I don't think I was talking to Paul Barron. I was talking to somebody else about this, but it was back here. It was back here in October of 2023. Some of you are watching. I was watching this. I mean, if I were to hit this replay and go back to here, if this is all you see, we don't know the future. We don't know that Bitcoin's about to explode to the upside. If this is all we see, does that right there not look like a head and shoulders pattern? Nope, get that thing wrong. Does this right here not look like left shoulder, head, and we're building a right shoulder? You guys remember I was pretty enthusiastic that that was coming into play. There was some reasons to suspect that things weren't going well in the economy and a lot of other things. And I thought there was an outside chance that we were going to see one more dip back down to about 20,000, give or take, maybe a little bit lower, and then the bull market would take off later. Well, that is not what happened. Of course, if I play out what did happen, Bitcoin would just do nothing but go to the upside, and I would be perceived wrong. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this. This was one of the biggest mistakes I have made this entire bull market. Again, called a lot of other things very well, but that had the same type of look as a head and shoulders pattern as to what I'm seeing right now on Chainlink. This is not officially a head and shoulders pattern. I've seen other head and shoulders patterns on other coins form beautifully and then not go that direction. So ultimately, even though we're seeing what could develop into looking like one, when you take a look at other things on the technicals long term, when you take a look at the news and you take a look at the partnerships that Chainlink's building, I would put the probability of a head and shoulders pattern on Chainlink playing out in the less than 5% camp. I just don't think it's going to happen. So hopefully that answers your question there, Phil. What other questions do we have here, everybody? Dave Digital says, exactly, Tim. Thank you for that. A pretty small head. Word almost looks like a channel movement. Yeah, kind of. Around the time Wolf of Wall Street tweeted he was shorting everything. Around that time, Wolf of Wall Street. Was that he's around 28,000? He was shorting everything. Pablo Chuco, you're saying head. I'm assuming you're talking about Bitcoin head to be higher. There's not a lot of good rules about head and shoulders patterns. I disagree. I don't think it needs to be higher. As long as the head is higher than the shoulders, it's good. But I would agree with you. Bitcoin didn't have the head wasn't a lot higher than the shoulders. It's a guy with a short head. Let's see here. Crux, Jupiter is doing more volume than Uniswap. I sent you this on Discord. We're still talking about Uniswap and Jupiter. Yeah, again, Jupiter had that really big bang, and then all of a sudden the FUD came out about Solana, and everything in the Solana ecosystem kind of fell. But that didn't discourage me about Jupiter long term. Jupiter is going to be very, very good long term. Very, very solid project that can make people a lot of money. Let's see here. Other questions. I'm going to give it. I kind of wrapped up some of the stuff I did faster, so we might not go 2 hours today, but I'll do a couple more projects. If you guys have some coins you want to see some TA on, I know some of you probably put some up higher in chat, but I'm a one-man band today, guys. I can't scroll back and read everything. Put things on here you want to see. Block Vibe said, Drift Protocol, please, yo. All right, well, let's do something that I normally have T-Shroom do, but he's not here. I've never even looked at Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol. Is it this one right here? Just Drift? I guess I can type in Drift Protocol to be specific, but I think it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, it is Drift. All right, so I'll go look at the charts here in a second. Let's take a look here. What's happening? Total supply, 1 billion. What's the current supply? 167 billion. So tokenomics, not phenomenal, although I'd have to do more research on what the unlock schedule looks like. Let me see if I can do some quick understanding of that. Let's see. About Drift, getting started, trading, liquidation. No, I just want to see your tokenomics, sir. Where's the tokenomics? I don't need historical data. Liquidations? Nope. I don't know. They don't make this easy. All right. We're not going to waste too much time. I need to find out more about tokenomics before I can say anything positive, but I will say with a little, with 16% of your tokens in circulation, that's something that if this market cap, which is currently sitting at 57 million, not very high, goes nuts, that could the price action of 34 cents could either stay still or even go down based off of how many tokens they unlock. So not the greatest start. Let's take a look at the coin. I'm going to $57 million in market cap. I don't think that this chart's going to have very much information for me. But I will take a look at it. Oh my gosh. How old is this coin? I mean, it has a all-time, let's see, history. It goes back to May 16th. All right, let's have a conversation, people. I love you guys. Block Vibes, I love you. This is not directed at you personally. When we want to do charts, let's choose coins that are at least 6 months old. And if you guys don't know much about technical analysis is a science of taking the history and the psychology of the traders and investors based off of its history into the effect of mathematical equations to make a probability prediction, a high probability prediction at what the price action should do next. If the coin is 2 days old, there's no history. BD says at least 2 years, bro. I would say to give good technical analysis, 2 years, but I can work with 6 months. I can give you something with 6 months. Anything less than 6 months, this coin is so freaking new. There's no telling what's going to happen. I agree with you, BD. 2 years is nice. 2 years would help me a lot if you guys can choose coins that have at least 2 years. Lucas Zurides. It's hard to read. Lucas Zurides, XRP. Guys, I can say with full confidence, XRP has a history of more than 2 years. We can do some XRPTA. XRPTA. There's a lot of letters in there. All right. Let's go out here to the daily chart. Now, I already talked about this earlier. We're in a long-term symmetrical triangle, a very long-term symmetrical triangle pattern. I do think it eventually goes to the upside here. Not worried about XRP breaking to the downside. Let's see what it is saying from other perspectives here. Again, a range that at one point they might have called me Mr. 55 cents when it comes to XRP. I've been talking about that level for a long time. Continues to be a level of resistance right now for a while. So for the bulls to feel good about themselves going forward, let's get up above 55, 56 cents, please, XRP. And then we can talk about what happens after that. We're under a current daily sell order. Again, this is another token. Remember, Bitcoin is printed buy here daily. Ethereum has not yet, I don't think. Nope, it has not, but it's showing signs. Solana's printed buy. Chainlink's printed buy. XRP is not printed buy, and I don't think it's going to come down here, but it's not necessarily showing me a lot of strength. And guess what? We have a smart trail concept. The next level of defense and rejection is going to be coming in right here at 56 cents. So daily chart for XRP kind of tells me unless something happens, and I know there's information supposed to be coming out from the lawsuit, but I'm not expecting anything major to happen for XRP. I don't expect anything major to happen for most altcoins, with the exception of maybe Chainlink, and if Solana goes crazy and goes back up to 200. I think most altcoins are in this similar boat with XRP, where it's like, hey, guys, we might rally back up to some short-term resistance, but I think you're really going to have to start looking for bullish action. You know, I'm not going to say we have to go all the way down here. I think we've hit some support here on the weekly chart. Yeah, I like the weekly chart. It's looking better. Low stochastics, low RSI. The MACD looks like it's curving over, and it looks like the money flow's going positive, and we might get a rejection and a buy signal here on the weekly chart for XRP soon. So I'm going to wait for that one. I'm just not feeling good about XRP right now. When we get this trifecta of LuxAlgo calling for a buy signal on the oscillator for XRP, we'll feel good about ourselves. And I think it's close. I think we might be, it might be a month or two away still, but on the weekly chart, there's only a couple of candles. So look forward to that. If you're looking at 4-hour charts, again, yeah, look at the 4-hour chart. It's pretty much saying we got some strong resistance above us at 52, but definitely resistance up here at 56. Best case scenario, you can maybe find some form of a long to get up to 56 cents over the next week or two, but that's going to be about as best you can expect at this point, in my humble opinion. What else you guys got for me in terms of charts? Thoughts on Matic, asked John Wick. Thoughts on Matic. I like Matic as a whole. I've not done TA on Matic in a hot minute, so we got to get in here and do some of that. Let's get to it. Speaking of, I have not gotten a drink here in a minute, so let me get some water. All right. Matic is sitting in a similar spot to what I've seen a lot of altcoins kind of have. It's a little bit of a bear flag in play here. Let me go ahead and draw it for you. Bear flag, bear pen. I'm going to say flag here, though. I'm going to say there's kind of like this kind of thing going on. And of course, it's attached to this. So if I'm just reading this and I'm not thinking about news or how the rest of the market's working, and I don't take into account any other indicator, theoretically speaking, you could have an argument for something along this line, you know, where we see it go back down to 50 cents. The only reason I don't think that's going to be in play is because we saw something similar happen. Was it with Chainlink? Yeah, Chainlink was in his own little symmetrical triangle, bear pennant that, of course, broke to the upside. Let's see, were there other ones that are kind of in that boat? You know, Cardano's kind of sitting in that boat. I did a video last night. Go check out my video about Dot. Dot's kind of sitting here wrestling with the resistance of its own bear pennant. But I think there's a lot of reasons to suspect that Dot can be breaking the upside. One of the reasons why their oscillator here just after excessive sellers came into space, they left. This a lot of times does allow price action to explode to the upside. Let's take out the oscillator. When we go back to Matic, we have something similar going on. We didn't have the excessive sellers, but we clearly have boom, sauce, everybody. Love it. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. You know what that says, ladies and gentlemen? That says a long should be in play here for our thing. So let's just go and draw this. Let's put, I'm going to find a new entry point, but we have a buy signal here on the daily chart. Now let's go ahead and pull up our other indicators and kind of figure some stuff out here. Take profit. All right. Conservatively, we're going to go kind of back up to this yellow line here where we have a bearish, we have a smart trail. We have the bearish breaker block in play. That's what that pink line is right there. So best case scenario, 12% gains if you were to buy right now, not even 12%, 9%, right? Here's what I'm going to say. I would not be surprised if I come down here to the 4-hour chart and see that we're currently at some resistance right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Yeah, looks like we want to flip back over to the downside. So here's what I'm going to do here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say, where's our next level of support? Oh, it's right here. Let's go ahead and take a 70-cent potential position right there. That's our entry. Our exit's going to be, again, back up here. Let's go to the top of this yellow box here. Our exit's going to be around 79 cents, 80 cents. That gives us a whopping take profit of 13%. So my stop loss, I got to make it somewhere in the camp of like 4% at the worst. Let's go right there. Boom. 4%. That's my stop loss. That is my trade. Looking at a potential entry down for a visit of 70 cents, give or take. Take profit around 79, 80 cents. Stop loss somewhere around 67. That's what I'm looking at, but I love what I'm seeing there on the daily chart, printing that buy signal for Matic going forward. That's short term. Long term, again, like I told you guys before, I don't really see a lot of altcoins breaking out to new highs. You guys could see there's an even larger take profit that could go as high as back to $1 pretty much. That still doesn't give us a new high for this rally. I think that altcoins as a whole trade more sideways. We don't see any highs for the rally until later this fall. Whenever someone asks, Tim, what are your price predictions for end of 2024? Bitcoin, I think, has a decent chance of being close to, if not over, $100,000. Because I think that the Bitcoin explosion will take off in the fall. I think it'll start to push. I think altcoins will start to make their big push late fall, but it might not be enough by the end of December 31st for them to be at new all-time highs, but they might be close. So we're in a very boring sideways action right now. French Toaster said Matic has been so boring. It has. But here's the ultimate reason why I think you guys should continue to check in on the show. So hit that subscribe button right there. Boom. Like that. I don't know if that hits. You can hit there, but you can hit obviously down below. You need to stay engaged with the charts and the news, because if you're hoping right now for a big breakout to the upside and you don't see it, the temptation to say, man, the bull market lost all its momentum and it must be done. I'm going to go ahead and take my profit and get out. Tell me when we've dipped 50% again. You're going to miss out on a massive explosion in price action later this fall, early next year. You need to know when things are going to get boring. I know it's hard to watch and stay engaged on a daily basis when it's boring, but those are the perfect days to accumulate, to learn, to invest, and to grow your understanding so that when the explosive upward price action comes, you take profit. And then when the explosive downward price action comes, you've taken profit, and maybe you're even looking for some short positions to make some money that way. The money, you can make money even if the money doesn't go to the upside. Even if you're just spot trading, you can spot short things, but you need to stay engaged during the boring seasons to have a better understanding of the best levels and ways to trade it so that when the most explosive stuff happens, you're thoroughly and heavily ready for it. That is the key to success here. We'll do a couple more questions. Definitely running long today. Jackie says, boring days are seed planting days. Yes, sir, they are. You don't plant during the rain season. You plant right before the rain season, and the rain comes, it waters it. You get your luscious green growth. Are you concerned about ONDO's tokenomics? Are you concerned about ONDO's tokenomics? I am not off the top of my head remembering what they are. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go look at ONDO's tokenomics, and we're going to talk about it. All right, total supply. Max supply is nothing, but that's not saying infinity. It's just saying, I don't know. Total supply, though, 10, is that billion? 1,000 million, billion, yeah. And then 1.3. All right, so yeah, not a great start. That the circulating supply is 13. No, it's not even. Yeah, it's 13%. 13% of 14%, give or take, of the total supply. But here's where it comes down. Like, do they have a plan? And this is hard to do live. It usually takes me a while to find this. But if I can find out what the investor allocations, coinless trans, seed investors, okay, it's not telling me the tokenomics necessarily. What's the average? I mean, I wonder if this is a Google away. So scheduled plan for, there is no scheduled or planned inflation. Ooh, I will say I don't love that. I love ONDO because of the people that love ONDO and see what it's doing, but I don't love that there's no planned inflation. Google ONDO inflation rate. Let's just see what we get here. All right. We're going to have to say crypto because ONDO is a country, apparently. So that does not help. As of May 17th, the price of ONDO, okay, I don't care about the price, which is a 5.4% increase over that. No, I don't care about the price. All right, guys. I'll have to look into it. I'm not seeing anything quick research here to be able to tell me that. I'll say, I like ONDO. I'm invested in ONDO. But to be fair, yeah, based on what I just looked like, I would be lying to you to say there's not a tinge of concern because there's not a lot of answers. So let me do more research on it. If you guys have already done that, good. You know, if you guys have done, type in chat if you know the inflation rate, if you know there's a plan. But their website, their white paper says there's no plan, which means, can you trust them? Can you trust them that they'll be responsible to not dump a massive amount of supply on the market every single time there's a massive pump? If you can say yes, then you're good to go. But ultimately, you are not in a trustless investment. ONDO, because there's no plan, tomorrow could dump 5 billion tokens on the market and the price would collapse. They're not going to do that. That'd be stupid. But you get my point here is they can really, the ceiling can be pretty harsh because every time the price goes up, they just slowly put more tokens into space, suppressing the price per coin. And that's ultimately what you're investing in. It's cool to see the market cap go up, but guess what? If the market cap goes up and the supply goes up at a similar rate, the price of the coin will stay the same. And at the moment, there's a lot of room for that. There's no huge unlock till next year, says Charlie Mack. Yeah, good. I need to look more into it, but I'll tell you this. I don't like, where was it? I don't like this. Nope, hit the wrong thing. I don't like this. This phrase right here. There is no scheduled or planned inflation. That means there's not a roadmap for what makes them unlock and not unlock. So maybe, I don't know if they changed it, but this is their white paper. Kruk says ONDO doesn't unlock until January of next year. Okay. So there's no inflation. How much do they unlock? Yeah, see, 14% unlocked. 244 days away. They'll unlock 2 billion, which until then is great. But guys, there's not even 2 billion. Like, so they will double the supply. They'll more than double the supply in January. January is not going to be a good month for ONDO, and probably leading into January. I would imagine some people are going to start taking profit before that, obviously, in preparation for it. But yeah, if I'm reading this correctly right here, 1.94 billion ONDO will be unlocked. And again, when we come over here, currently there's only 1.3 billion in circulation with 10 billion total. That means literally, yeah, like let's pretend this happened tomorrow. The price would immediately fall to 40. What was that? 48? Is that 48? I think so. I think my math is correct there. No, 47 cents. Math is hard, people. the price would immediately fall. Now, I think ONDO price will go up before that, but it's going to be fun. That's going to be fun when they unlock that many tokens, guys. Big dip in the price action there. All right. I'm getting close to kind of wrapping this one up again. I have to record some videos for next week. Christoph Jurgales, is this channel worthless? I don't know. I have more subscribers than you, so I don't know about that. Let's see. The token unlock plan for ONDO follows a phased approach aimed at aligning the community and ensuring long-term commitment of contributors, investors, and ecosystem participants. Over 85% of ONDO. Okay. Protocol developments. Yeah, I just still don't love that they. Well, maybe they've updated. And again, that's a good point, Dave Digital. If you anytime in Discord you guys want to drop some of your research on this stuff, I read the stuff in Discord, so I will update my information here. I need to look into this a little bit more before I can give you an official. That means I'm not going to put an ONDO price prediction out until I get a grasp of this tokenomics here, guys. So be ready for that one. Yeah, I just need to know more about what that means. Ultimately, here's the other thing is I need to know if I'm going to make a good price prediction. And Dave, if you know the answer to this, help me out. I'll tell you what, if you do the research on this, Dave, I will throw you $100 if you write me out a detailed article. Like if you write me stuff about all I need to know about the tokenomics of ONDO and where the supply should be, let's call it October 1st of 2025, I will pay you $100 and then I will make a video and give you a shout out with a price prediction for where I think ONDO will be. Bada boom. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Again, I can feel my throat getting kind of scratchy, and I still have to shoot probably at least 3 videos today. So I'm going to wrap it up for today. If you guys enjoyed it, I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Again, we're probably going to be at 17,000 here on Monday. And we'll give $100 away to one lucky winner. We got some big information coming up here, guys, with new ways for you guys to engage with the channel and be in the membership programs. So stick around, pay attention to those things. If you guys, again, want to be in my VIP trading group and hear more from me and ask me a lot more questions, make sure to go buy LuxAlgo, the best trading indicator out there. Has been crushing it. But that also then, if you get in Discord and you leave a ticket, giving me information about how you purchased it. Your email, I think, is actually the best way it's been working for most people. I'll get you into our VIP trading group. You can spend a lot more time with us. With that said, though, guys, that's all I have for you in this one. I'm going to try to do the outro correct today. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I will see you Monday. Adios.
Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.